Aunt Lana here with the art project called Scribble Abstract. And when we think of the word abstract, it means you look at it and it doesn't look like an object you recognize, like maybe there's a dog and I see a house and there's the sun. No, it's just shapes that are beautiful. Now to do this with watercolor, we will use a permanent marker, and we want the wide kind. Now if you don't have a wide kind and you just have a Sharpie, you could use that too. But this makes for a really nice defined edge between all the colors. Put some scratch paper underneath what you're doing. And what I want us to do is to make a continual line. And you can make them swirly, curvy, straight, but keep the pen down on the paper, okay? If you would happen to lift it up, then make sure and go right back where you left off. It'll make a little mark, but it's okay. In fact, I think I'll go over that mark. A lot of times if I do something that isn't so good, instead of throwing it away, use your own creativity to come up with a how can I fix it solution. It's okay. We just want to have some spaces where we can put some paint. Mainly, we're going to worry about what it looks like in the middle of the paper. All right, and to end, we're going to go off the page. This off the page part, we are going to crop that in, so you're not even going to see that when we're all done. Also, if we're looking and we see a great big continuous shape, we might want to cut through that. We want it to look like it's a continuous line. Like here, we're coming down, coming down. Okay, then I can continue that off. This is an abstract. So one nice thing about abstracts is they're just supposed to look neat. And you don't have to worry about being, oh, I don't draw that well, or it doesn't matter. The reason why we're using permanent is because the watercolor will not pick up the black of a permanent. If you're using a watercolor marker and then you use watercolors next to it, you're going to end up with a lot of black running into your artwork. One solution, you could do it with a pencil, maybe paint it, then go over it with your marker. That'd work. So don't throw away your paper or cross it out. I had students that did that. They would not like it, and then they put a big X in it. I go, that doesn't help. You know, let's try to figure out a way we can make it look pretty. Now when you think of stained glass windows, the color is separated by little black called leading. It holds the glass in there. And we're kind of imitating that with what we're doing here. Now we're going to add color to that. Oh, let's start with red. One of the mistakes that people make with watercolor is they make it way too wet. So when you get your brush wet and you put it on your color, just rub it around a while, and that's going to make the paint be a little thicker. Now once I have color in here, I want to spread that around the page. That makes for a good composition. So we want a little red here, a little red there, here a red, there a red. And that's, okay, I've just touched the tip of my brush in there because my paint was getting too dry. And you can see how that livened it back up again. And where do I want it to do this? Doesn't matter. But one thing I like is where I kind of spread it around the page. It's like all this connects together. Get a little bit more. I would suggest turn your paper instead of sticking your hand on it. Like that. So I can paint without putting my hand on that space. But just move it around the page, find different places, and then we can kind of look at it and see how does it look. If I put red here and here, it's going to look like one big shape instead of these smaller shapes. Always wash your brush in plenty of water, and I always pinch it. I'm not going to paint right here. If you get too close, it's going to spread in to where it's wet. So let's give it a chance to dry a little bit. And I'd say after this paint has dried just a minute or two, you don't have to worry so much about that it's going to spread. Just stay in between the black lines and you're not going to have any problem with that. If you like more of a challenge, you can use your lid like this for a mixing palette. And I'm going to put a little blue. Now, not to contaminate my green, I will wash my brush. And then come in here and mix the two together. And you can take it nice and slow. You don't have to go swish, swish, swish. You know, if you want to go right up next to that line, like this, and nice and slow, and then fill. That will give you a really nice control. Experiment on a scratch paper if you're going to try something new. Probably going to have to put a little bit more water. You just put the tip of the brush right on the surface of the water. Just touch it. That's enough. There we go. Now another thing you can do is you can thin it down just a little bit more. Point, touch, kind of press that brush up against the edge like that. See how that made it not as bright? And that makes kind of a nice variety. Now to make a dark color, we could add brown or black. And I think brown works nicely, so I'm going to use that. You can use the colors right straight out of the box because they are very pretty. A professor that taught me a lot was talking about composition and how it's good to have colors throughout. Then he said, but it's also good to have a surprise. This is the only place this is going to be. It's right there. Now, I see a white spot right there, and since I want a surprise, I'm going to get rid of that white spot. Let's use red. Just a little dot. There it goes. That worked. Okay, always take good care of your brush. Wash it out thoroughly. Swish, swish, swish. And then just gently squeeze out the excess water. Clean our palette. And my paint kit is ready for the next project. Okay, now we're going to look at what is the best part of this picture that I like the most. So I'm going to take pieces of paper. I actually like everything here except for where there's a little bit of an edge. So I'm going to cut that off. And I don't care for this big long yellow thing, so I'm going to cut that off. Oh, that is so much better. Okay. Down below, how about cutting that off? I like that much better too. So basically, I can use my eye to see about where I want that. How about up here? I'm going to hit that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to trim this then so that it's going to fit onto this black paper and it'll make it look matted. Let's take it to the paper cutter. Okay, using the paper cutter and press this edge against here so it'll be square. Oh yeah, I like that much better. Now I also want some of that matte to be showing, so I'm going to go up here even further than I might otherwise. We'll take a look and see what do we think. Yep, much better. And we're going to use a glue stick. Okay. Place it where we want it to make it the same on all edges. This side to this side looks about the same. This side to this side about the same. Okay. And you have to figure out which side is up and which side is down. I want that side up because of that little white surprise. Now to completely finish the work, we're going to sign it. And I encourage my students, always sign it on the front. And traditionally, we put it down at the bottom right-hand corner. Now, if you want to do it a different way, a lot of artists do break the rules. It's okay. But I'm going to do it traditional, and I need a space where I can see it. So I'm going to put it right in here. And now my artwork is done. I hope you'll try it. This is Aunt Lana. Happy creating.